Will the year 2030 bring about a great global reset? This is a question that many people are asking. It appears in headlines and echoes in countless conversations around the world. For some, the idea of a reset brings a sense of hope, better, fairer, more sustainable world. For others, it is a source of profound anxiety, a fear of losing control over their lives, their freedoms. This essay will explore this complex idea. We will not seek to alarm or to reassure. Instead, we will look at the facts and the forces at play, using simple logic to understand what might lie ahead. Our journey will be one of observation. We will examine the trends that lead people to believe that significant change is on the horizon. We will look at institutions' technologies. We will consider the different economic pathways our world might take. Throughout this exploration, we will maintain a neutral perspective. We will not choose a side or promote a single narrative. The world is a complex system, and simple answers rarely capture the full truth. Our purpose here is to provide a calm and measured look at the evidence, allowing you to draw your own informed conclusions. We will begin by asking why the year 2030 has become such a focal point for these discussions. What is it about this particular moment in time that has captured the collective imagination? From there, we will carefully define the very term that sits at the heart of the debate, the Great Reset. We will trace its origins and understand how its meaning has been shaped and sometimes distorted. We will then turn our attention to major global organizations, United Nations World Economic Forum, to understand their stated goals and their actual influence. This essay promises to be a guide, not a prediction. The future is not a destination we arrive at, but a path we create through our collective choices and actions. By understanding the different forces shaping our world economic pressures, technological advancements, we can better navigate the years to come. We will show both sides of the argument, presenting the information as it is, without the filter of hype, without the filter of fear. When people discuss a potential global reset, the names of a few key institutions often arise. It is important to understand what these organizations are, what they do, and the actual extent of their influence. They do not operate as a monolithic entity with a single, coordinated plan. Rather, they are distinct bodies that contribute to global conversations and policy trends in different ways. One of the most frequently mentioned is the United Nations. The UN is the author of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which outlines 17 sustainable development goals aimed at ending poverty, protecting the planet, ensuring prosperity for all. These UN goals are aspirational, not legally binding. They are a framework that member countries have voluntarily agreed to work toward. The UN does not have the power to force any nation to adopt specific laws or policies to meet these targets. Instead, it plays the role of a coordinator and a scorekeeper, providing technical assistance, facilitating dialogue, publishing regular reports that track progress toward the goals. The 2030 Agenda is a public declaration of shared global ambitions, but the power to implement it rests entirely with individual national governments, which must balance these goals with their own domestic priorities and political realities. Another key player in this conversation is the World Economic Forum. Unlike the UN, the WEF is a non-governmental organization. Its primary function is to serve as a platform for discussion, bringing together high-profile leaders from business, government, civil society to debate the world's most pressing issues. The WEF is a powerful agenda setter. It popularizes concepts like the Fourth Industrial Revolution, Great Reset. However, its power is one of influence and persuasion, not direct authority. It produces research papers and hosts conferences, but it cannot write laws or command armies. Its proposals are ideas that participants may or may not choose to champion back in their own countries or companies. A third area of focus involves discussions around new forms of money and identity, specifically central bank digital currencies, digital ID systems. These are not being driven by a single global body, but are being explored independently by numerous countries around the world. Central banks from China, Sweden, the United States are researching the potential benefits and risks of issuing digital versions of their national currencies. Similarly, many governments are developing digital identity systems to streamline public services. These are sovereign projects, not a unified global mandate. While they raise important questions about privacy and control, their development is fragmented and subject to national laws and public debate. Section 6. Economic Crossroads, Potential Reset Scenarios. As we look toward 2030, economists and analysts envision several possible economic futures. These are not prophecies, but scenarios based on current trends and potential shocks. No single path is guaranteed. The future will likely contain elements from several of them. The first and perhaps most probable scenario is one of gradual, uneven change. Economies continue to adapt incrementally. New technologies are integrated slowly. New jobs gradually replace old ones. Policymakers manage challenges like inflation and debt through conventional means. This path feels like continuation, not a sudden reset. A second, more dramatic scenario is a crisis-driven reset. This involves a major global shock, such as a severe financial crisis, worse than recent downturns. It could overwhelm institutions, forcing rapid and radical reforms. Possible accelerations: banking regulation, international trade rules, the role of government in the economy. A crisis could clear the way for change, but also cause widespread hardship and disruption. A third scenario centers on a shift in the nature of money. There could be a rapid move towards central bank digital currencies and a phasing out of physical cash. Programmable, government-issued digital money could bring greater efficiency in transactions. It could also improve ability to combat illicit finance, but it raises real concerns: erosion of privacy, and potential for greater government surveillance and control over individual spending. A fully cashless transition, if it occurs, would be a monumental technical and political challenge. A fourth possibility is a policy-driven transformation. Growing public consensus on climate change or social inequality could push many countries to enact bold policies. Massive investments in renewable energy, implementation of carbon taxes, new laws strengthening workers' rights and social safety nets. This shift would be deliberate, not crisis-driven. It would restructure industries and labor markets over the decade, a reset guided by policy rather than chance. Section 7. Voices of a Generation, What the Experts Are Saying. When we listen to the experts who study these trends for a living, we do not hear a single, unified voice. Instead, we find a rich and often contentious debate, with specialists from different fields offering diverse perspectives on the road to 2030. Many mainstream economists tend to project a future of continued, albeit sometimes turbulent, change. They acknowledge the challenges of debt, inflation, technological disruption. They often express confidence that market mechanisms and incremental policy adjustments will be sufficient to navigate them. From their point of view, the global system is more resilient than it seems, and talk of a singular reset overstates the likelihood of a complete rupture with the past. In contrast, many futurists and technology theorists see a more rapid and fundamental transformation on the horizon. Section 8. Echo chambers and evidence separating online claims from reality. In today's information landscape, it's easy to encounter strong, alarming claims, especially about the year 2030. Online platforms are filled with narratives of secret plans, impending doom, often presented with certainty and urgency. These stories claim a forced global reset is an established fact, and a plot orchestrated in the shadows to strip away freedoms and impose a dystopia. Approach such claims with a critical, discerning mindset. They weave truth, half-truth, and falsehood into a misleading tapestry. Use a simple method to check claims. Step 1. Ask for the source: publicly available document, reputable news report, anonymous post on a message board. A credible claim should be traceable to a primary source. Step 2. Read the original source yourself. Quotes are often taken out of context. A sentence from an academic paper can be turned into a supposed intent when it was merely exploring a hypothetical step 3. Cross-reference with multiple reliable sources. Reputable journalistic outlets, official government reports, peer-reviewed academic research, not just a viral video or blog post. If it's significant, it will be reported by many credible observers. If it only appears in an echo chamber, be skeptical. Step 4. Look for concrete, testable evidence, specific dates, names, statistics. Many powerful narratives tap into real anxieties. They use real documents like the UN 2030 Agenda WEF discussion papers, then attach sinister interpretations the originals don't support. That kernel of truth makes the story plausible. Patiently compare claims to primary evidence. Separate facts from speculation to get a clearer view of reality. The phrase Great Reset itself has become a source of considerable confusion and debate. To understand the conversation, we must first track what the term originally meant and how its meaning has evolved. The phrase gained widespread prominence in mid-2020 following a public initiative launched by the World Economic Forum, business, political, academic leaders. The context was the global disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The core idea: use recovery from the crisis as an opportunity to reset and rebuild foundations. In its intended form, the Great Reset was a proposal for a different kind of recovery. Instead of simply returning to the pre-pandemic status quo, leaders were encouraged to shape a future that was more equitable, sustainable, resilient. Key themes included investing in green infrastructure to combat climate change, reforming social contracts to address inequality, harnessing the fourth industrial revolution's technologies for the public good. Discussions focused on stakeholder capitalism, companies accountable not just to shareholders but to all stakeholders, employees, customers, the community. But the phrase soon took on a life of its own online. For many, it became shorthand for a top-down conspiracy by a global elite. In that narrative, the Great Reset was cast not as proposals, but as a secret plot to dismantle national sovereignty, to abolish private property, to implement widespread social control through technology. That interpretation mixes factual elements, like the WEF and its discussions, with speculative, fearful conclusions that go viral. It's crucial to distinguish the official initiative from the conspiracy theories attached to it. The reality is far less dramatic. It's a vision promoted by a group of influential people, a set of ideas, not a binding plan. Understanding that distinction is the first step toward a rational, evidence-based conversation about the forces shaping our world as we move toward 2030. Technology is undeniably a primary engine driving the conversation about a 2030 reset, and the sheer pace and scale of innovation are transforming our world. At the forefront of this change is artificial intelligence and automation. AI is no longer a concept from science fiction. It is a practical tool being integrated into everything from medical diagnostics, customer service. As these systems become more capable, they could automate a wide range of tasks currently performed by humans. This could lead to immense gains in productivity, but it raises profound questions about the future of work. The impact on the labor market is a central concern. Many routine, rules-based jobs are considered at high risk of automation. Blue-collar, white-collar. This could cause significant job displacement, requiring large-scale retraining and education. Technology will also create entirely new categories of jobs. The transition will likely be uneven. The challenge is to provide opportunities for all, not widen the gap between those who can adapt and those left behind. Beyond AI, advances in biotechnology and medicine could revolutionize health. Gene editing technologies like CRISPR, personalized medicine based on genetic makeup, new classes of vaccines and therapies could extend lifespans and cure previously untreatable diseases. These breakthroughs promise improved human well-being, but they bring ethical dilemmas and practical challenges. Concerns include the high cost of treatments, equitable access for all populations, and questions about what it means to be human. Finally, surveillance technology is a critical component of the 2030 story. The world is increasingly blanketed in sensors, from high-resolution public cameras to data from smartphones and online activity. Facial recognition data analytics, other monitoring tools can enhance public safety and make services more efficient. But they also create unprecedented risks to privacy and individual freedom. The crucial factor will be the legal and ethical framework societies adopt, determining whether these tools serve the public or control it. So, why do so many people anticipate a period of profound change by the year 2030? The reasons are numerous and interconnected, like the threads of a complex tapestry. First, we must look at the state of the global economy. High debt, low growth, a persistent sense of fragility. Central bankers, governments, ordinary citizens. They worry the current economic model may not be sustainable, prompting calls for new approaches and structural reforms. Second, the recent experience with inflation. A sharp rise in the cost of living. Food, fuel, housing. That pressure makes people feel insecure and erodes trust in existing systems. The appeal of a fundamental reset grows stronger as people search for solutions beyond conventional policy. Third, there's growing awareness of environmental and resource constraints. We are consuming energy and natural resources at an unprecedented rate. The scientific consensus on climate change points to tangible effects already unfolding. More extreme weather events, severe droughts in some regions, catastrophic floods in others. This reality creates a sense of urgency. It suggests we must reevaluate how we produce energy, how we manufacture goods, and how we grow food. Many see 2030 as a critical deadline for meaningful action to protect the planet. Finally, the political landscape is increasingly polarized. Deep divisions can make consensus difficult and block significant change, or, in a moment of crisis, create an opening for rapid, sweeping reforms. Combine that with the rapid acceleration of new technologies like artificial intelligence, technologies poised to reshape labor markets. And it's easy to understand why 2030 feels less like an arbitrary date and more like a potential turning point for humanity. They point to exponential growth in artificial intelligence, synthetic biology. They argue these forces will reshape core institutions, from work education, government finance, within a very short time frame. Some, like technologist Ray Kurzweil, speak of a coming singularity, while others forecast unprecedented disruption and opportunity. Their outlook is one of deep, systemic change, not just incremental adjustments. Climate scientists offer a different but equally urgent perspective. Their focus is not on a possible reset, but on a necessary one. Based on extensive data and sophisticated modeling, they issue clear warnings about the consequences of inaction on greenhouse gas emissions. They stress that the window of opportunity to avert the most catastrophic impacts of climate change is rapidly closing. For them, 2030 is not a speculative date, but a critical milestone. They urge a deliberate and rapid policy-driven reset of our energy and industrial systems, arguing that the laws of physics and chemistry will dictate our future if we fail to make conscious choices. Finally, political scientists and sociologists highlight the human element in this complex equation. They stress that technology and economics do not operate in a vacuum. The future will be shaped by political struggles, social movements, choices made by billions of individuals. They point to the rising tide of populism, the erosion of trust in institutions, and the deep cultural divisions as powerful forces that could either accelerate or block change. The one point on which nearly all experts agree is the profound uncertainty of our current moment. The confluence of so many powerful trends at once creates a range of possible outcomes, making definitive predictions impossible. The phrase Great Reset itself has become a source of considerable confusion and debate. To understand the conversation, we must first track what the term originally meant and how its meaning has evolved. The phrase gained widespread prominence in mid-2020, following a public initiative launched by the World Economic Forum. Section 9. A World in Motion, a Balanced Conclusion. So, after examining the evidence, what can we reasonably expect by 2030? The world will certainly be a different place. So is 2030 a definite reset or a myth? The real answer is uncertainty, acceleration, and transformation, but not a single global switch. Comment your opinion below.